Georgia here with you, aka VHS 82 apostrophe, with part 2 to my first look at what I have from 1982. This will be the second look at what I have that dropped the rest of the year, at least in terms of what I have. This one will not be near as long, I don't think, because I don't need to go on the long rant about good rant about Texas Chainsaw getting a relook by 824, Glenn Powell being involved, and Kim Henkel, and all that wonderful news. And that may be the news of the year so far to this point. Perhaps. Do check out my son's channel, Flying Kite or Horror Show 04. Link is down below. He's doing some good things with that, for sure. MrParka's channel, his video essay on 1982, for which was icing on the cake. As far as I already knew what I was going to do, and I'm sort of limited because I'm only showing you what I own, which compared to his video essay runs for like 3 hours and 18 minutes, and I found out real fast that what I own is nothing compared to what exists out there in 1982. Ton of stuff. It would really be cool if someday I could get myself to where I could have a top 25 of my favorite 82 films. Yeah, we're a long ways from that. I got 20 films altogether. So there's no real special ranking other than how they dropped, which month, where they dropped, as far as a theatrical release, right? And we mentioned last time about Takashi Miike's new film with Norman Reedus, a violent possession flick, I guess is how they're going to characterize that. Scream 7, of course, just a couple weeks away. Today is Super Bowl Sunday. Yes, I'm doing all of this the same day. Yeah, let's just jump right into it, I guess. God, yeah, that'll be coming. Let's see. Let's see, where did we leave off? So we left off just before August, right? Just before August. So July, Manhattan Baby dropped, right? On the 22nd, Lucio Fulci film. So now we find ourselves in August. Only one film, surprisingly, well, at least that I have, only one film dropped. And that, of course, was on Friday the 13th. And that was, of course, in 3D, for which I got to go see with all that special glasses and everything. But, of course, Friday the 13th, part 3 in 3D. I love, it's one of my favorite artworks. It's so iconic. Of course, if you don't know anything about Friday the 13th, 3 is iconic, especially not just because it came out in 3D, and it was pretty stellar 3D that I remember as a kid, at least. But that's where he gets his hockey mask. So we lose the potato sack, and we gain a hockey mask. Compliments of Shelley. Thank you, Shelley. And the effects were pretty outstanding. I sort of vaguely remember most people in the theater wanting to duck when the harpoon is shot. Kind of stuff is pretty cool. Yeah, and so I picked this up in the wild. I know Screen Factory's got the box release and all that, but I've never gotten that. So I'm just sort of building my own collection, trying to get it all back via the wild and just giving them brand new cases. And this was a nice pickup for just a couple bucks, but still had the little card in there and everything. And it is, yeah, it's the only... pretty sure it's the only release I have it on. I wish I had the VHS. But Friday the 13th, part 3. August, and we're 54 years of Friday the 13th, part 3. And, of course, this coming week is Friday the 13th, which is pretty cool. Also, too, the #1 song in August when the Friday released was Eye of the Tiger. Of course, because Rocky 3 was big, right? All right, in September... Okay, this is interesting. So in September, Amityville 2: The Possession released on the 24th of the month. A Damiani, I'm sure I butchered that. I didn't even think that one out. But Amityville 2: The Possession follows up the original, I'm pretty sure it was 79, Amityville Horror, which, I was really familiar with. but when 2 came out, it was on HBO, and I would have seen it a bunch of times. But looking back now, is just going through the list and everything, I was reminded by, well, 2 things. Number one, Burt Young is in that thing. Is it Burt Young? Well, he's the big one that stands out. Tommy Lee Wallace, Tommy Lee Wallace was credited for writing the screenplay, but uncredited was Dardano Sacchetti, of course, maybe Fulci's greatest screenwriter, or one of, yeah, there's probably only 1 or 2. I mean, but you know, Gates of Hell trilogy and all that wonderful stuff. Also wrote for Dario and whatnot. But yeah, Sacchetti's or Sacchetti is uncredited as a screenwriter. And my only release of this is crazy. I don't even have these movies on DVD. I got the special Amityville Horror double box VHS. Picked this up. I want to say it maybe a Goodwill or something. And I did. Who put this? Good Times put it out, of course. And I do have to say this. Let's look at something real quick here. So I mentioned this. I showed you my widescreen thing VHS on part 1, and how much videotape was used to actually get that transfer on there. Look at the difference with Amityville to The Possession, if you remember the last one. So as a result of them using Good Times, using so little film, it doesn't take long for the transfer to begin to wear down and fast. Last time I plugged this in to watch it was not the greatest experience. Now, it seems at a quick glance, the Amityville Horror, I know the other one isn't completely rewound, but it looks like the Amityville Horror actually got a little bit more tape. Maybe because that was the first Amityville Horror and it was already sort of getting some sort of legendary status or something. I don't know. Whereas 2 was untested by time, and so it doesn't get quite as much. At least it doesn't look, I don't think it is quite as much. It might be around the same amount, but still. Last time I put that in. Now, I'll tell you, be honest, 2, I've heard it, I want to say it was MrParka said that he thought part 2 actually was better than the first one. I probably wouldn't have any complaints with that. From what I remember, 2 is pretty, it's got to be the screenwriting. It's got to be the screenwriting. Especially, I think, I don't know how much of Sacchetti's work of writing got into that thing in the final, but there is that Italian connection, and so if I were to, and now I know Screen Factory put out the trilogy, but if I were to upgrade, which I have to at some point, from my miserable copies, I would probably, if I wasn't going to get the trilogy release, I would probably get Amityville to The Possession first, just because of the connection with Sacchetti. But it would have to also, hopefully there would be some sort of interview with him on there as an extra, and I could hear him talk about what he contributed or whatnot, because that really interests me a lot. At some point, I did look up the price for the trilogy for the screen. It's a little too high for me. I should have grabbed it when it first came out. It was probably well more within my reach. But you know how a thing is. When you don't jump on it, usually the price either goes up, or surprisingly, if you wait long enough, it'll drop down. So, Amityville 2, Possession, Burt Young. Also, Blood Beach. He's in that thing with, was it John Saxon in that thing? Those 2 work together in that, which is pretty awesome. In October, a handful of movies came out in October. Actually, about 4, I think, it looks like. Yeah, I have 4 movies drop in October. On the 1st of October, The Slayer dropped. My Arrow release of that. I've only seen this movie maybe once, maybe twice. In this chilling classic, 2 young couples set off to a secluded island for what promises to be a restful retreat, but the peace is short-lived as a storm begins to batter the island. Troubled artist Kay senses a malevolent presence in their midst, stalking them at every turn. She is losing her mind, or are her childhood nightmares of a demonic assailant coming to a terrifying life. Who is in this? The Slayer, Sarah Kendall. This is a JS, is it Cardone release. And Island Horror, though, not a bad release from Arrow. Sorry, the stuff's upside down, but you get the point. I do remember liking it. A lot of extras, man. Nightmare Island, The Making of the Slayer. Yeah, Island Horror, man. I really probably should revisit this one again. I only, like I said, watched it maybe. Oh yeah, the Hysteria Continues had a commentary track on that. That's pretty cool. Oh, revisiting the locations of Tybee Island, Georgia. Forgot some of that was done there. There had to have been a reason. I think I probably picked this one up as a result of a theme week in Body Bags. But the Slayer drops. I already covered this in my Blue Underground video last time. But the New York Ripper, at least here in the United States, drops on, gets its probably a limited theatrical on the 5th. On the 5th. And yeah, this is, you know, I'm a huge fan of Lucio Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy. I'm a fan of a lot of his work. In fact, I'm almost at 30 titles, I think, of his that he did. New York Ripper is the one of the ones that I would probably least revisit. I guess, you know, with the New York Ripper, you find out how much of a fan you are of supernatural horror, and maybe that's where my heart really lies, is in the supernatural, because when you spend enough time in the Gates of Hell trilogy, stepping into the New York Ripper is like stepping out into the cold light of day and being reminded that there is a nasty world you live in, and it has nothing, or the supernatural world of film, no matter how nasty, has nothing on the cold reality of what the New York Ripper brings. But I reviewed it for Body Bags, and I do remember being pretty fond of my review of it. There were some interesting things in there that I did see, and there's some pretty hard things in there to see. Of course, then again, with Fulci, it's all about the eyes, right? And wanting you to see what you don't want to see. A lot of it, right? And then this one up here drops on the 22nd of October. That's my special, what is this? NSM Records release, steelbook from Germany that I picked up. It's such an awesome release. I don't have a lot of covers that do that kind of junk, and you're probably not seeing it that well, but actually, yeah. Yeah, I saw this in the theater. There's my ticket stubs and all that junk. Saw it as a double feature with Creepshow, actually, which was really fun. But this has an interesting commentary, and I think it's on the Blu-ray probably. But Tom Atkins is on a commentary track on this, and towards the end of it, he goes on a little bit of a rant of a positive one, but of what was supposed to be with the next Halloween film in terms of after Rob Zombie's H2, what H3, I guess, I don't know what the title would have been, but would have been, and it would have been, Atkins would have been, he had already been, I guess, precast to be a psychiatrist for our main protagonist, who's in an insane asylum. And much of the movie, I think, if I remember right, was going to take place in an insane asylum. And so you kind of got the hospital effect there again. I'm not sure how that movie would have worked, but the tag team writers and who were going to direct, I believe, were the ones who did the My Bloody Valentine remake, as well as some others. And so he mentions all that. And so what they wanted to do, apparently, was take Rob Zombie, what he did in his H2, and bring it, kind of give us the best of both worlds. Rob Zombie's world and what Rob Zombie had laid out, but then sort of bring it closer to home in terms of the traditionalist sense of what Halloween is, and try to give us, I think, the best of all worlds. That's what I was looking forward to. That's what I knew was coming down the pike, and I was geeked out for it. And then it just never materialized. And what we got was the forthcoming trilogy. And yeah, I could go on a rant on that all day. It has its moments. I think the best thing about the new trilogy is John and Cody working together on the score. There are elements of that score that are really pretty wild. I really do enjoy listening to. The films, though, I probably like Halloween Ends the best out of all three, which is most people hate. So go figure, right? All right. So Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. By the way, I love this movie, man. I've always loved this movie, and I was never part of that crowd early on that was miffed by the fact that there was no Michael Myers. It just never seemed to bother me. I think I just got intrigued with the story and the writing and the whole Nigel. Is he credited here? Please tell me he's credited here with some of the writing. He's not, is he? Nigel. I'm getting his name wrong. Quatermass Trilogy. Fame guy. Yeah, he's not credited. But he did have his hand on some of the writing process. Oh, what? Why am I not getting? Anyways, Halloween 3, and just Carpenter's influence, like with Prince of Darkness and some other films he did from this guy, so evident, especially the Quatermass Trilogy. I can't remember why his name's not there. It's like there, but not there, you know? But anyways, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. I love that movie, man. And what a score, too. The score is outstanding. So the last movie to drop in October, at least that I have, is the 29th, is this cult classic from Larry Cohen, Q, the Winged Serpent. This is such a crazy movie. Michael Moriarty, I always say his name wrong, and David Corradino. This is, if you've never seen this movie is absolutely bonkers, man. What did Gene Siskel say here? Q is genuinely entertaining film, a terrific performance by Michael Moriarty, wonderful writing by Larry Cohen, and it's a lot of fun. Recommended. Gene Siskel, man, writing for the Chicago Times. Basically, if you've never heard, this is one that some of you watching me have never even heard of before. Its name is Quetzalcoatl, a dragon-like Aztec god that is summoned to modern-day Manhattan by gory human sacrifices, but just call it Q, because that is all you'll have time to say before it tears you apart. Directed by multi-talented Larry Cohen, this cult favorite delivers exceptionally winning performances by Michael Moriarty, David Carradine, resulting in a fasten your seatbelt entertainment with a touch of class. This is fun. No real features other than it's in widescreen. This would be a movie I'd be interested in getting a real upgrade on. But it definitely has some very cool moments with the flying dragon creature there, the Aztec creature. Okay, 2 months to go. In November, on the 11th, this bad boy dropped. Creepshow. Maybe with one of the most stellar casts of a movie. Well, I mean, the cast of the thing is outstanding. If you were going to list movies just by cast, this is definitely in the conversation of having one of the best casts ever assembled for an anthology. Bringing EC Comics to life. And if you're around George Romero and Carpenter and a lot of these guys long enough, EC Comics comes up all the time, all the sticking time. But I picked this up from Amazon UK because at the time, I don't think Scream Factory had put it out over here. And so I saw it on the UK. I was doing an order from the UK. And, of course, part of the double feature with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. In fact, this is how ignorant I was of the release. I mean, I just thought I was getting Creepshow, which is outstanding, right? But I didn't realize at the time, would realize later, that this also included Just Desserts, the making of Creepshow, a feature-length retrospective with all-new cast and crew interview. And that, of course, got its own separate release over here in the States as a documentary, but had it here on my UK release. So that was nice. So I never did have to go out of my way to actually get Just Desserts. Already had it. Didn't think much of it until, like, over here it suddenly became a big deal. And everyone's like, did you order Just Desserts? Did you order Just Desserts? No, it's already on my release. Now, you know, as far as transfers and all that junk, you know, I mean, this would be a cool movie to have 4K. Just to see it, but just a stellar cast. I mean, you know, let's do so. Hal Holbrook, Leslie Nielsen, Adrienne Barbeau, E.G. Marshall, Ed Harris, Ted Danson, Stephen King. My favorite one, geez, I don't know. I mean, love Father's Day, The Crate, the one with Ted Danson and Leslie Nielsen is so sticking awesome. Probably, if I had to choose just one, The Crate. I'd have to go with The Crate. The Crate is good. The Crate is a lot of fun. But Father's Day segment, we watch it every year on Father's Day. It's just tradition in this house. It's really cool. All right, then November, I got 3 releases in November, so that was one. And then the next one, lady director, Amy Holden Jones. Not only, I think women directed the entire franchise, if I'm not mistaken, but of course that is the Slumber Party Massacre. Yeah, this is a nice Scream Factory release. Again, must have been theme week, bodies bags, is a reason why I did. Yeah, I won't show this one. This one gets just a little tiny bit. But, well, yeah, you get the point. Nice. A lot of extras, though, man. Well, I say that. Audio commentary with the director, which is great to listen to. Sleepless Nights, the making of the Slumber Party negative. I can't remember what the theme week was at the time, but that was the benefit of body bags when I was there for the better of 5-6 years, maybe almost 7 years or something. There were so many theme weeks, and it was just that 7-year period, if it was like 7 years, was probably when my collection saw its greatest growth, just because I needed films. We were running a certain theme week, and so you know, found the movie you needed, and then my collection just grew by leaps and bounds. So I have a lot to thank for Body Bag, but most importantly, the friendships that some of which still go to this day. In fact, we were just talking the other day and today, group chat and stuff. And so that's a lot of fun. Very, very, very meaningful stuff. But really, as far as my collection, it wouldn't be what it is today if it wasn't for Body Bag. So that's pretty cool. On the 19th, this little gem dropped, and I was always even on the VHS box for the VHS rentals. I was always taken back by this artwork, Alone in the Dark. And of course, this is also absolutely stellar cast. Jack Palance, Donald Pleasance, Martin Landau, of course. If you're a fan of Space 1999 and had no idea that I reviewed the whole stinking thing in its entirety, that's in my archive channel. And that was an absolute blast to do. So I think Shout had put out a nice release of Space 1999. And Erlen Van Lith, the guy who plays Dynamo on The Running Man, is in it, and they're out for blood. Just a fun movie. All right, one last release in December. The only release in December that I have in my collection from 1982 that is horror or a science fiction horror. I had to get this from. Ultimately, I get it from Germany, and the story was back in the day. I was following Moods' top tens, whatever it was, and this particular top 10, one of the films mentioned was this movie, Extro. And at the time, there was no current U.S. release for it at all. And somebody commented on his his top 10. Somebody commented, and I just happened to catch the comment at the perfect time, and mentioned asking Moods if he knew of the German company that there was a release, a brand new release of this. And so I saw it. I immediately jumped on it and found it, and actually ordered it from German Amazon site, and got a few other things at the same time. I can't remember what. But I got this. I want to say this was somewhere around the 24 Dutch marks, something like that. And so I'd gotten it. And then there was this question of, because I had, I always have this weird thing where if I order something from overseas and it's a big release, something big, I kind of like to go see and keep tabs if it's still in print or if it's already run out. And when I checked on it, it said it no longer said will ship to the U.S. It said it will not ship to the U.S. And I'm like, I already made my order. So I'm like, so I started asking around, and then the word that I got was, well, don't be surprised if you get an email telling you, sorry, we don't actually ship to the U.S. And so I waited for that email. I never got it. In fact, I got was my extra on the other movies that I ordered, and English track, of course. I think pretty much most of the stuff that comes out of Germany has an English track to it. There it is. Such a weird movie, man. But this was about as good of a release as you're ever gonna get of this movie. Look at this junk. Look at this junk. Even has the soundtrack right there. Yeah, alternate artwork, book inside. It's Platinum Cult Edition. Got it for an absolute steal. Absolute steal. With the uncut and full cut release of it. 35th anniversary director's cut. HD remastered. Yeah, and I was so glad to get that, because I was a little scared at first that I wasn't going to get it, but in fact I did get it. And then wouldn't you know it, anytime you order something from overseas, which I have done a few times, it seems to be followed up with a U.S. release from, say, Severn or whatever it is, whoever it is, Scream. So go figure, right? Go figure. All right, closing in on 30 minutes, so let's just wrap this junk up. In August, just a couple releases that I have on hand. By the way, I recognize by doing this junk, right? And I say that, in the most positive way. But in July, the only release I thought I had on hand of major movies was The Secret of Nim. I know we had it, VHS, and the big clam box thing. Where it is now, I'm not sure, because I did a little look for it and went to the usual spots, and it was not there. And so now I'm thinking something happened to it. Not sure what, unless it's just in a box or something somewhere. So got me to thinking, I really do need, as a family film in the house, to have The Secret of Nim. That is a great movie. In August, and this movie was so important to me in my teenage years for so many reasons. But Pink Floyd, The Wall came out, and I'm just still riding the VHS. And again, the quality on this VHS will probably never really deteriorate, because look how much tape they used. So, and that's the beauty. Of course, that don't sound too good. At some point, I really just need to get this on Blu-ray or something. Actually, if I'm going to jump from VHS, I would love to have this on 4K. I don't even know if there's a 4K release for it yet, but this would look pretty stunning on 4K, I would imagine, in the right hands. And the music is just, iconic. This is one of those where, I was born in 70, so hit 78, 79, 80, suddenly some of the music is already starting to become, part of the cultural fabric. And so I hear 11th, high school kids. I'm just a little kid, but I hear high school kids talking about some of this stuff. And it just kind of sticks. And then you discover it much later on. The best part about The Wall is the movie that he's watching through most of it, to keep that link with his dad, is the Dam Busters, which I do have on Blu-ray from the UK, special collector's edition. And that movie is one of my favorite military Air Force films that I own. So thank you, The Wall, for that. And also, Fast Times at Ridgemont High came out in 1982 in August. This is 82. I'm sure y'all, and this is the beautiful Criterion edition, which includes the TV cut. Right. I mean, here's why I don't get. My wife and I were talking about this last night. How do you absolutely nail the 1980s? And when you start making this movie, it's not even 82 yet. It's probably making in 81. They nailed it. This might be one of the greatest in-the-moment feels of any movie like it. Because when we do watch it, and I mean, I'm like, yeah, I came out of that. Interesting. One last honorable mention in October. Just rewatched this one not too long ago. I really need a serious upgrade on the entire franchise. But First Blood first dropped in 82. I was not aware of that until I was watching a short little documentary on 1982. And of course, now we got the news that the director of it's a Christmas, the Finland Christmas movie. Oh, come on. Yeah. See, it's weird how things just boom. But once I stop on this and move on to my day, it'll pop in there. Oh, it was like right there. Anyways, he did a few movies. Anyways, he's doing the prequel to Rambo, and they've already got it cast. Can't remember the guy's name. It looks pretty cool though. But apparently he was huge fan of Rambo growing up. What is that? I know where it is. Oh, Rare Exports. There, I see it up there. Rare Exports. It's a classic Christmas time movie. Good stuff. So, all right. So that really pretty much does it for my 82 collection in terms of horror movies that I own in my collection. And if you check out MrParka's video essay from 1982, you'll just see how grand 1982 really was, just in a singular year for films. Horror films, but not just horror films. Like I mentioned in the first video, the blockbusters that came out in 1982, it's just insane what happened in that year for filmmaking. And not just that, but you put 81 before it, and 80, jump out to 83, 84, of course 83, Return of the Jedi, 80s, Empire Strikes Back. You throw the Indiana Jones movies in there in the early 80s, the Rockies, the Star Treks. I mean, it was just phenomenal, the 1980s. But 82 in particular just has that hold on me. Must have just been a good year overall. So BHS 82 apostrophe is why we go with that. So, yep, until we do another one. As always, enjoy the Super Bowl. That's coming in just a few hours. Enjoy it and enjoy the week that is to come. And we'll see you next time.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.